Breaking news right here tonight at 5 on WHAS 11 News. Sad news developing right to our south. 2 children have died, and police tell us it was at the hands of their mother, and an arrest has been made. Hello, everybody. It's our top story. I'm Doug Proffitt.
And I'm Shay McAllister. We've learned the 2 children were just 6 and 9 years old. The shooting happened on Brentwood Drive in Shepherdsville right around 11 this morning. This is 32-year-old Tiffany Lucas. Police confirm she has been arrested and charged in the murder of her 2 young children. Well, Connor Steffen and photojournalist Addie Hill went to the area. They talked to neighbors, and then they talked to the Bullitt County Sheriff. Connor, what can you tell us about the investigation?
Well, Shay, I can tell you just minutes ago, a member of the Bullitt County Sheriff's Office looked me in the eyes and said that these are the situations that make their guys go home at night, wake up their children, and hold them extra tight. It's a really sad situation here. Here's what we know so far. Police say that a 32-year-old woman, Tiffany Lucas, shot and killed her 2 young sons, aged 6 and 9, around 11 this morning. Police arrested her shortly thereafter. She faces 2 counts of murder and is in custody as we speak. Police are not sharing any potential motive or information on what led up to the shooting, but we do know there is a deeply somber feeling not only here inside the Bullitt County Sheriff's Office, but in the neighborhood where these 2 young boys lost their lives.
I talked to a couple of neighbors, and they're kind of upset that they found out 2 little boys got shot. You know, that's kind of upsetting. Nobody back here wants to hear about kids getting shot. Nobody wants to hear people getting shot at all.
Police want to reiterate there's no active threat to the community at this time. Law enforcement say this remains an active and ongoing investigation. And the lasting message right now from the Bullitt County Sheriff's Office is this community is resilient, but at this time it needs extra prayers. We're live in Bullitt County. Connor Steffen, WHAS 11 on your side.
All right, Connor, thank you. This is a developing story in Bullitt County. We'll have more from Connor coming up right here tonight at 6.
Kentucky made a choice. A choice not to move to the right or to the left, but to move forward for every single family.
That was just after 9:30 last night. The race for governor was over. The polls had Kentucky all wrong in the end. Andy Beshear winning by a margin of 5 percentage points, much more than had been predicted.
Today, Governor Andy Beshear starts another 4 years in Frankfort. The Democrat coming out ahead of his challenger, Republican Daniel Cameron, winning by more than 65,000 votes. And within minutes, all eyes were on the Commonwealth. Governor Andy Beshear and his big win getting national attention. We are bringing more coverage of the election right now.
Our election analysts are going to be joining us. They're back with us in just a second. But first, senior reporter Isaiah Kim Martinez and senior photojournalist Alyssa Newton in Frankfurt today, as Beshear made a guarantee of one thing that won't happen during his second term.
In his first news conference since being reelected, now 2-term Governor Andy Beshear doubled down on one of his big priorities for this upcoming legislative session.
I mean, in the simple numbers game, if we continue to lose educators, it means we need to continue to increase compensation.
Walking into the Capitol Rotunda Wednesday, fresh off his successful re-election campaign, Kentucky's governor made it clear substantial teacher pay raises and universal pre-K will be his focuses this coming budget year. But if Andy Beshear's first term serves as any indication, both items will likely be uphill battles against a Republican supermajority in the legislature. What may you do differently to get that 11%, specifically convince the legislature it's worth it?
Well, I think that first of all, we'll have those conversations, but the shortage getting worse ought to convince every legislator that we have to do more.
Beshear says he'll double his efforts to ensure a two-way working relationship with the General Assembly. The governor also confirming to us he's in Frankfurt to stay through his second term.
I'm going to serve every single day of these next 4 years.
Saying this job has his sole attention. Isaiah Kim Martinez, WHAS 11 on your side.
Also today, Kentucky Senate President Robert Stivers releasing a statement congratulating Andy Beshear on his victory last night, but he also said nothing substantial will change when it comes to the legislature's efforts, saying, quote, I am hopeful that in his second term, though, the governor will choose to work collaboratively with his co-equal branch of government.
Now let's take a closer look at some of the other races from around Kentucky. Russell Coleman will be the state's new Attorney General. Coleman is a former FBI special agent and U.S. Attorney for Kentucky's Western District. He defeated Democratic State Representative, retired Air Force Colonel Pamela Stevenson.
Republicans sweeping the other down-ticket races. This is the other big story of the night. Secretary of State Michael Adams easily clinching a second term, defeating Democratic challenger Buddy Wheatley with 61% of the vote.
In the race for treasurer, Republican Mark Metcalf defeated Democrat Michael Bowman by about 185,000 votes. Metcalf will replace Republican Allison Ball, who will move into a new position as Kentucky auditor. She defeated Democrat Kimberly Reeder.
And finally, Republican Jonathan Schell of Garrett County, Kentucky, defeating Democrat Sierra Enlow to become the state's next agriculture commissioner. He's going to replace current ag commissioner Ryan Quarles.
I pledge today to continue to be a governor that serves everyone, that I will never view this state as having red counties or blue counties, but just counties of our Kentucky families.
More from the governor this afternoon, talking for the first time since his victory and listening to his statement right there. Is that one reason why he won? Well, we're going to find out right now with the best election analyst in town, joining us again after a long night on the air with us here last night.
Republican consultant Iris Wilbur-Glick of McCarthy Strategic Solutions and Democrat David Tandy, the former Metro Council president, now a partner with Denton's law firm. Thank you guys for coming on today.
Thank you.
The path to victory last night, if you want to pick it up there, David, after you've been analyzing it, what did the voters reject to go ahead and re-elect Andy Beshear?
Well, I think what the voters did last night was they voted for the candidate that they knew, the governor who had delivered for them for 4 years previously, and one who did run on issues that he was for, as opposed to trying to demonize the other candidate and saying what he was against necessarily.
Today, this race getting national attention. We're seeing people talk about Andy Beshear's big win, but also Daniel Cameron's loss. Iris, any idea what comes next for him? What is he planning to do?
Sure. I mean, there's a lot of runway left for Daniel Cameron. He's 37 years old. I mean, sky's the limit, sort of that star power quality, if you will. He's had a taste of the national stage. He had a prominent speaking role at an RNC Republican National Convention. I fully expect that we will see Daniel in some shape or form, either in public office, in an administration, or some kind of leading capacity sometime soon.
Well, speaking of the victory, when you look at the map, and we, by the way, have our map from WHAS11.com. You see all the red on there, folks. That's the Republican victories, and the blue, the major metro areas, of course, the Democrats. Look at far western Kentucky. This is still fascinating me. Andy Beshear won really some Republican counties in eastern Kentucky because of the flood relief effort that he did there, really switching. But in western Kentucky, where he spent so much time after the tornado, went Daniel Cameron. What happened there? How come he didn't flip those counties?
I think there's a couple of factors there, Doug. I mean, first of all, those western Kentucky counties are predominantly Republican registration. But also, I think there may be a difference in how the responses to these natural disasters. I was out in Graves County a couple months ago, and I mean, it is a very slow recovery in Graves County. And so I don't know if that was a direct impact. But another notable thing, although General Cameron was successful in securing those counties, it was by a slimmer margin previous to a Republican's performance in 2019. And so although that map is red, it wasn't red enough.
Right. It's similar if you want to use like a football analogy. There are many ways you can win a game. If your best option is to throw the ball, if I make you run and slowly get the ball down the field, I did just as well as opposed to trying to just take you out altogether. So, I think what the governor did there by being there, by showing up where the tornadoes happened, you saw those numbers, those margins shrink considerably, and it caused a lower turnout there. I mean, even when you look at Hardin County, for example, where these new battery plants are going, Daniel Cameron, it's his home county, he only won it by 175 votes, as opposed to 4 years before, Governor Beshear lost that one by over 1,000. So it makes a difference.
And how did Daniel Cameron do compared to Matt Bevin? And how much of that had to do with Daniel Cameron, and how much of that had to do with Beshear?
What I'll say back then and now, I mean, really there is no difference except for, the power of incumbency really showed up this time around. I mean, we're talking about record spend. If you're looking at just the candidate cash advantage, Governor Beshear had 5 times the amount as General Daniel Cameron. And so, I know people don't like to hear it, but money does matter. But also, with Governor Beshear this time around, spending time in key counties, he flipped coal country. And that's typically a historic performance where Republicans have done well, but Andy Beshear was able to secure those in the win column.
So we have about a minute left. I'm going to throw this open to both of you. We'll start with you, Iris. Andy Beshear, involved in any kind of higher office race? Andy Beshear for president in 2024? You know, there's some national writers have already raised that possibility.
I am confident that Governor Andy Beshear will be in the mix in the sort of the national discussion. Will it be 24? According to Governor Beshear, as of a couple of hours ago, he's committed to the Commonwealth. But it would not surprise me maybe 4 years from now, right? That when we're up against another presidential campaign. But even before then, I mean, administration, some other appointment positions, sky's the limit.
What do you think?
You never know what could happen between now and then. I was talking to somebody earlier today about how when Senator Wendell Ford was governor at the time, a vacancy came open, appointment had to be made. He appointed himself. Julian Carroll became governor, and then he went on to go serve for many years in the U.S. Senate. You never know. It's always say if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans, right? So we'll just have to wait and see.
That's a great way to wrap it up. Well, David and Iris, thank you very much. After a long night, we've really enjoyed having you both in here.
Thank you.
Now we're going to bring you a real sunny forecast. Too warm for November.
It is really warm, and it was pretty heated yesterday, not even out in the sky, but we have some sunshine that's warming us up. 83 was our high today, broke record heat, and now we're still sitting in the low 80s. It's a nice day. Enjoy the warmth because this is not what we should have this time of year. In fact, we're sitting about 20 degrees above average. Not in the 80s everywhere. We're at 78 in LaGrange, 77 in Madison, in Springfield, across town, upper 70s and low 80s. So it's comfortable. Can even break out those shorts one last time maybe before we really start to get into the cold of the winter. 79 around 6 p.m., 77 with some clear conditions, but by the time we head towards 9 p.m. we could see some scattered showers. Now tomorrow we have a cold front passing through, so we're only going to get to the mid 60s in the afternoon and also a few showers in that forecast. So that warm front is off to the north. The reason why we're breaking record heat today with that south wind, really breezy out there, wind gusting up to 35 miles per hour. Some scattered sprinkles tomorrow right around 5 o'clock, and then that's not it. We have another wave of rain after the cold air on Friday morning. I'm going to time that out here a little closer coming up. Doug, Shay.
All right, Colleen, thank you so much for that update. We do have some breaking news we want to get to here and fill you in on a developing situation coming out of southern Indiana right here at 5 o'clock. Former Clark County Sheriff Jamie Knoll has been arrested. We spoke with the Clark County Assistant Chief, Mark Group, just a few minutes ago. He tells us he is in custody at the Clark County Jail.
Well, right now, we do not know anything more about these charges in this shocking and developing story, but you will recall that Jamie Knoll's home was searched by Indiana State Police in August. We're working to get more information on his arrest and bring you the latest details as soon as we get them, so stay with us. More on this developing story coming up on WHAS 11 News at 6.
Students, teachers, and parents all on very high alert today after multiple false calls reporting active shooters here in local schools. 2 JCPS schools were targeted this morning. Both calls brought out massive police responses from LMPD. Department leaders calling it incredibly traumatic for everyone involved.
And it's not just happening in Louisville. Lexington and Cincinnati and Evansville also saw these calls. It's called swatting, which is a fake call to 911 in an attempt to bring out a large police presence to one particular address. The first call came just after 9 this morning in Louisville. A 911 caller claiming to be a victim on the second floor at Manual High School by U of L with a gunshot wound. That was not true. Police raced to Manual High School. Many people saw them rushing through downtown Louisville. Another call reporting an active shooter at Olmsted North Academy. That's in South Louisville.
I will say that our safety procedures went off as they were supposed to. There's a reason that we practice these. We never want to have to use these. We never want to have to heighten building security. We never want to think that there's an active aggressor in the school. Thankfully today, there was no threat to our students.
Still, some parents choosing to pick up their children from school early today in Louisville. Mental health counselors were made available to the staff and the students who needed to talk about it. LMPD says beyond the trauma, these calls use valuable resources.
You know, when you have a response like that and you're taking resources away from other people that could be legitimate victims or in need of medical assistance or things like that, there's a multitude of things that you are affecting when you do that.
He says they have detectives tracking the calls right now to find out where they originated. If they do find the person responsible, they'll be prosecuted, charged with a felony.